Hey y'all, and welcome back to this episode where I'll be giving you a recap and my not so humble opinion of Love is Blind Season 4 Episode 7. If you enjoy this kind of content, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out. Okay, enough of that, let's get into why you really clicked on this video. My recap of Episode 6 was way too long, so I'm going to make sure I keep it short in this one. So episode 6 ended with Chelsea super nervous, giving off negative vibes about her dad coming over to meet Kwame. And this episode opens up with her dad meeting Kwame. And they sit down and she explains to her dad how the experiment went and that in the end Kwame proposed to her and she said yes. Chelsea's dad was so happy for her, happy for them, super accepting. He just seems like a genuinely nice guy. So I have no idea what Chelsea was worried about. I think she was just playing it up, trying to make it seem like something that it's not. Like maybe her parents would be worried about race or something. But her dad didn't care at all. Paul and his mom are out and they're waiting for Micah to arrive. And the first thing I noticed is that Paul's mom looks exactly like Micah. That is Micah in 30 years' time. They look identical. Hair, face shape, eye color, mannerisms, everything is the same. Paul's mom is really happy to meet Micah, and when she sees her, she actually cries. I think she's so happy, and it's a compliment for your son to choose a woman that's exactly like you. So yeah, she really is happy about them and thinks that they're a good match. She said that she did some private investigative work and researched about Micah and knows her parents, the jobs they have, where they live. This was creepy. I don't know how I would have taken that, but yeah, Micah was just laughing. That's her personality anyway. She doesn't take things too seriously. And Micah also notices the resemblance between herself and Paul's mom, and she was laughing about it. Next up, Brett takes Tiffany to his apartment. This could be their home because Tiffany lives in a shared apartment, so she has a roommate. And the apartment's quite small. Tiffany also needs a workspace. There isn't a lot of space, and Brett told her that if it's not big enough and if she likes the building, he can move to another unit with 2 or 3 bedrooms. When I was looking at Tiffany, I didn't think she really looked impressed with the space. She's worried about closet space, a lot of stuff. I don't think this is where she would want to live. But she says that she can see herself living there. I like that. Tiffany is ready to compromise. She is ready to make this work. Next up, Bliss is at Zack's apartment. And Zack was saying that he wants to spend as much time with her as possible because whenever they're together, it just feels right. I loved this scene. Like I said before, I just want to see Zack and Bliss. I don't know how I'm still interested in Brett and Tiffany as well. But apart from those two couples, I'm not invested. So they're making dinner, and Bliss is more of a baker, so she has no idea what to do. She offers to help, and Zack asked her to add some butter to the mushrooms that he was cooking, and Bliss had no idea how much butter she needs to add. She was asking him, is this much okay? Oh gosh. Bliss mentions that she wants to take cooking classes, and Zack said, oh, that would be really fun for us to do together. And Bliss is like, oh, would it now? I think she's still reserved about how things are going to go between them. He did just propose to another woman. Well, next thing you know, they've prepared the carrots, prepared the mushrooms. Now it's time for the steaks, the main part of the meal. And Zack takes one of the steaks out and he says, "Oh, the bag is open, so this steak is spoiled." He says, "Well, maybe the other steak can save us." And well, the bag is open, so they can't have any steak. So they just have shrimp and mushrooms and carrots. The dinner's going great and Bliss is still happy about their meal and she's not making him feel bad about it or anything. They have dessert, and then after having dessert, Zack asks Bliss to dance. Oh, seeing them together just makes me so happy. Zack is so happy. Bliss is so happy. They look comfortable and happy together. I'm so happy for them. I hope they both say yes. Kwame takes Chelsea to his fortress of solitude. That's what he calls his apartment. The apartment is a mess. Kwame says he sleeps on the couch more than he sleeps in his room, and it shows. There are clothes, towels, just things everywhere. I mean, it's not that bad overall, but nothing has a place. They go into Kwame's room and Chelsea opens a drawer, and this is Kwame's sex drawer. And Chelsea looks inside and says, "Oh, you have the same lube as me." That's the exact same lube I have. And then she says they have so much in common. They go back to the living room and sit down, and Chelsea makes a joke about the bottle of lotion that's on the coffee table. And then she looks to her right and she sees a towel on the couch, and she's like, wow. I wonder what happens on this couch. The two of them have a bit of an issue about relocating. I think this is going to be one of their problems in the relationship. But Chelsea points out that Kwame works remotely, so it's easier for him to move, and that she has her family and her job in Seattle and she doesn't work remotely. And Kwame, on the other hand, says he's happy in Portland and that what's keeping him in Portland, what he says is that he has a running path and he runs the same path every day. So this is the same person who says he's just willing to dive into anything and do anything, but you're so committed to the path that you run every day. So he says that sometimes he feels like he compromises too much when trying to merge their two worlds together. I think he doesn't feel any compromising coming from Chelsea's end. Tension is brewing in the kitchen because Jackie is nervous about meeting Marshall's family, and she says she doesn't think she can do this and she's stressed out. Marshall asks if she's stressed out about meeting his family, and she says no, that's not it. She's just stressed out about everything. Here we go again, the roller coaster ride that is Jacqueline. She's so stressful, cryptic, she just wants Marshall to be on his toes all the time. She says she needs a second, and Marshall offers to give her space by taking a walk. Jacqueline says that Marshall's energy is making her even more stressed out. Lies. She just wants to blame Marshall. He didn't do anything. He's done nothing. Nothing at all. And Marshall is way too understanding. Well, she says she has a lot of thinking to do since her family isn't behind her 100%, but she still needs to make sure that her family is good and her decision impacts her family. She's just finding excuses and reasons not to be with Marshall. I think she already knows it's not a good fit between her and Marshall, and she's just trying to find every and any reason to push him away. Marshall's sister arrives with her husband and daughter, and Jacquelina's still in a sour mood. I was so nervous about the impression she's gonna make, but she switched it up real quick, and I guess that sums up who Jacquelina is. She just goes in and out of different moods in a split second. Marshall's sister asks about the experiment. Marshall says he knew that Jacquelina was for him from day one. And Jackie says she's learned to be more grown and she appreciates that Marshall gives her space when she needs it. Yeah, all the good stuff. They look good together. I don't know if it's a front from Jacquelina's side, but the meetup goes well. Paul takes Micah to his apartment, and it's so funny. He has 2 different couches. I think one he said was from Goodwill and the other one he just found in the trash. Micah was just having a ball. At some point she says she thinks she's going to have a stroke because she found Paul's grandfather's suit, but I think it's actually Paul's suit and she was just teasing. She thinks that she's going to have to be Paul's fiance and stylist at this point. So she was making fun of the wood everywhere and that there's a knife on every surface in his house. They talk about future living arrangements, and Paul wants to know if Micah can see herself moving into this apartment. She says she doesn't, and she thinks they should split their time between there and Arizona, but Paul doesn't agree. Back at Kwame's place, he says he still hasn't gotten a chance to talk to his mom about the whole experiment and the results, and he's not sure why she's not picking up his calls. Well, he calls again, and Chelsea wants to know if she's going to be part of the conversation, but Kwame thinks it's best for them to have the initial conversation alone. And I agree, especially if you have reservations about how the other person's going to react, you would rather do it alone. Mom picks up, but we can't hear her. She's not on loudspeaker, so we just hear one side of the conversation. So Kwame just gets straight to it, and he tells his mom about proposing to Chelsea and everything. Kwame says he hopes that they can talk about it more in the future. He comes out of the room and briefs Chelsea about the conversation. And he says he respects and understands where his mom is coming from, but the conversation didn't go well because his mom expected more from him and for him to do the right thing, and she doesn't think he used his head in the situation, and she can't say that she's happy for him. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. We had no indication at all that Kwame's parents were gonna have any sort of problem. There's no time when they really spoke about issues from their respective families. Tiffany is in the kitchen cooking. Tiffany doesn't know what she's doing in the kitchen. She looks out of place. Brett walks in and decides, to sit with her, and they have a chat. Tiffany wants to know what Brett's vision is for their lifestyle after this experiment and everything is over. She's really comfortable with what she makes and spends and wants to know if Brett feels overextended at all. The reason Tiffany's bringing all of this up is she's noticed that Brett dresses well and has expensive brands and, things like that. So Brett says, no, he's fine. He spends within his means. He's okay. And Tiffany asks what the most expensive item he has is. And apart from tech, the most expensive thing he has is his carry-on bag, which he paid $1,200 for. When he said $1,200, Tiffany wanted to jump out the window. She couldn't believe it. But they're okay, and they both agree on not telling each other how to spend their money as long as they can agree on a fair split of the bills and everybody and both of them meet that expectation, then there shouldn't be any problem. And while they're having this conversation, Brett is like, side note, you are burning the kitchen down. So Tiffany runs to the oven, opens the oven, tries to take the pot out of the oven. It falls on the oven door. It's just a mess. Tiffany does not belong in the kitchen. My new favorite couple, Zack and Bliss, are on a boat. They're sitting close together, looking cozy. They're both a bit nervous. I can sense nervousness, especially from Zack's end. And they're having a conversation. I don't know about this conversation. I don't know what they were talking about. They were talking about monster toys, the Furby, fruits, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, whatever. They were just talking about a lot of things, but they look happy. And I did say they're on a boat. They're on a boat and Zack is wearing a suit. Zack's actually is he always wearing a suit? So they sit down and they kiss, and Zack is so goofy. After kissing her, he asks her to fix his hair because his hair is just standing up and blowing in the wind, and Bliss tries to fix it and it can't be fixed. It's just like, you know what, just leave it. It's going to do whatever it's going to do. And Zack looks nervous. He's standing now and he asks Bliss if she could meet one person or anybody in the world, who would it be? She says Oprah. And then she asks him and he says, your parents. And he gets down on one knee and proposes. The moment was so beautiful. I was really nervous though, because I felt like Zack was gonna fall off the boat. There was nothing securing him where he was kneeling. It was just a little awkward, but the moment was beautiful. And that's where they end episode 7. If you like listening to this recap, come back for the next one.